Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to Dead Malls, your one home for the spookiest abandoned mall tours and everything history related. In tonight's episode, to begin the final saga of Season 6, I knew it was time to finally share my footage of this absolutely terrifying abandoned mall. The Pines Mall in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, which permanently closed its doors back in 2020 and has been just sitting abandoned for nearly 5 years since. Back in 2023, my friends and I trekked through here for the first time in the middle of the night, as the abandoned mall was just one of the dark stops on our 15-hour journey. We got through it, but I ended up scrapping it because of just how dark the footage ended up being with my crappy old flashlight. So in November of 2024, we went back, and I was dumbfounded by how much more the mall has fallen into disrepair and by how much more dangerous it was. If you could tell by the intro, there were numerous times where broken skylight shards would just rain down throughout the mall. So before I spoil any of this spooky 80s fever dream, I wanted to take a moment and shout out our winner who was able to successfully guess the next mall. Very nice job, Jack. If you'd like to have your chance of being shouted out in the next episode, be sure to stick around for the next challenge. Anyways, let's dive in here, take a tour of, and tell the story of the bizarre, abandoned Pines Mall in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Yeah, I get it. It's freaky as fuck. I like how this piece of duct is just like sticking out of the floor. This like little piece of insulation is just like poking out of the floor, like there's some downstairs vent or something. Hello? Like the start of every good abandoned mall adventure, you gotta find your bearings first, and your way into the mall itself. What you're seeing here would have been the old Sears department store, which I remark later are always the creepiest abandoned locations. Eventually though, we found the mall entrance and cautiously made our way in. Now it's worth noting that almost every door into this mall was open, because unlike other bandos, Pines Mall is truly abandoned, with minimal amounts of effort put into caring for it or securing it at all these past few years, aside from the food corridors being boarded up. So scrappers and vandals have really sort of had their way with this place, and you're gonna see that as we get in here. It definitely played into our fear though, as we didn't know who could be lurking behind any of those dark walls and creepy, jagged corners. And that door's open. With the shutters. When first walking into this small, central court area, we heard the distant sounds of shattering glass, which made my friends bolt back into the dark safety of the old Sears, and I, of course, was the only one willing to step foot back into the mall to see if we were just tripping or if there really was someone else in there with us. We eventually got the courage to go back into the mall again and found out that those shattering sounds were just the mall's many broken and cracked skylights creaking and breaking in the wind, in turn raining glass shards throughout the mall. The sound from that walk, but I could have been wrong. Yeah. Let's go down to Dillard's first, take a right. Note this absolutely massive dangling fragment of glass, which was probably a few feet in length at least. This piece would end up crashing to the ground, pointy end first, exploding bits of glass and dust all over the center court area, just moments after I ended this clip right here. Shocked and also shook, thinking about the many ways this mall was trying to kill me, you'll hear my reaction to the display in just a second. Oh my god. Watch your head. Oh, this is an egregious right here. Look at the inside of this right here. It's untouched. Just beating so loud right now, you can probably hear it on camera. This is just so creepy. Pine's Mall's story begins just around 40 years ago, in the small, at the time slowly dying city of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, where, on a plot of land just southeast of town, city officials had convinced mall developers General Growth Properties to build one of their brand new massive shopping centers, hoping that this new mall would bring people back into the city, which had slowly been losing population throughout the 1970s. The idea of the Pines Mall, though maybe not the most sound, would officially be born. By early '85, clearing of the land had begun, and the mall's superstructure, sprawled between 4 anchors, would officially take shape. Pines would be based off the typical mid-'80s GGP mall model of the time, with flowy gold-mirrored ceilings, trees, tiles, and a huge windowed food court, which malls like Oakwood Mall in Wisconsin and Mall of the Bluffs in Iowa bore a near-identical resemblance to. Pines of today is almost unrecognizable from its once vibrant and beautiful past. This mall, which remains stuck in 1986 with its aesthetics, is, if you can look past the decay and destruction, still a beautiful look back into a more prosperous America and a more prosperous Pine Bluff. But before we open the mall in our history, let's head down to the food court and see where some of the most shocking sights came, as big portions of the roof have completely collapsed after past fires torched it from below.
Oh my god. And this was in Aladdin's castle. The neons are still up inside. Prizes. Yeah, so the rumor has it she came back here to the mall as it was in its abandoned state and burned down her office. But that's just a rumor. A game theory. This food court gives me the heebie-jeebies. Oh, skylights are cracking here too. Be careful. Was that another skylight? Dude, that's freaking scary. What's inside of here? A bunch of little fake snow.
I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty intimidated staring down at the empty maw of the mall here, and at that giant fish, but I couldn't stop thinking, as my anxious brain does, about who else might be in there with us, and all of the weird, distant sounds I was hearing. Or I thought I was hearing. Was there other people in there with us? Maybe I was just going crazy. Right here was the old disc jockey, I guess later converted into a ballroom, but Disc Jockey was sort of a CD music video store, which probably opened with the mall day one, but I do wonder, I'll have to check, if I ever go back, this will be a stop on my list, seeing if the old Disc Jockey logos are still burned into that carpet, you know, underneath of all the crap on the floor.
Oh, look at that. In this old Foot Locker, you can see where the CRT TV used to hang. On the purple bars.
On Wednesday, July 30th, 1986, the Pines Mall would officially open its doors for business, with premier anchors Sears, Dillard's, and Walmart opening the mall, and a JCPenney coming into the picture later that November as number 4. There was also a stage which opened near Walmart as a smaller junior anchor, however, I can't confirm whether or not that was day one. What did open with the Pines day one were stores such as Belden Jewelers, Subway, Foot Locker, KB Toys, Sbarro, Aladdin's Castle, Regis, Casual Corner, Rogers Jewelers, and Walden Books. The mall very quickly became a retail and social hub in Pine Bluff, and for a time it became a magnet, attracting residents and travelers alike from all over Southeast Arkansas. There was even a first-run movie theater in the food court, which ran with 3 screens from 1986 to 1990. I was blissfully unaware of its existence when I filmed this video, so here's some footage of the inside from my friend Ethan's Explore. Link in the description if you want to see his full video. Who knows, maybe I'll go back one day just to check it out. The mall aesthetically, as stated previously, bore a striking resemblance to other sister GGP malls, featuring long golden mirrored trim corridors, all filled with skylights and trees. What you can't see today were the once shiny and sparkling marble floors that coated the Pines, nowadays caked with dirt and debris. Through its first few years, the mall would thrive, helping build up Pine Bluff further and helping slowly develop the southeast side's retail scene. Check out this super awesome retro Claire's, which still features the mirrored walls and recessed ceiling designs, and based off the studs in there, I can only imagine neons once float around them. So cool.
Turn into the Jack and Jill fun zone.
Every 10 seconds, someone will see this ad. Yeah, I don't know, that seems a little out of date now. I think a more accurate version would be every 10 days, a scrapper or a crackhead might see it, but that's probably about their only source of foot traffic in the modern era. By 1990, the small 3-screen movie theater in the food court was quickly replaced by a brand new 4-screen showroom called Pine Bluff 4. Owned and operated by United Artists, this new theater would open near the mall's potential 5th anchor pad. The old theater would soon be walled off, never to see the light of day again. By the mid-90s, higher-end names which had first opened to the satisfaction of a steady customer base quickly ran out, as Pine Bluff itself in the mid-90s was seeing massive socioeconomic changes. And with the completion of the new Southern Bypass in 1995, Pine Bluff and its mall just became 2 more stops along the interstate, instead of places you actually drove through. In the 90s, White Flight hit Pine Bluff hard, and those high-end names which first opened with the mall would quickly evaporate. United Artists would sell the theaters to Carmike Cinemas, whom would expand it to 8 screens in 1998. This would be the mall's last meaningful addition, as the only days which loomed on the horizons for Pines were those of closures and loss. And now it's time. You all knew it was coming. The abandoned Pines 8 movie theater, which was so disgusting and gross and swampy, and the floor was sticky, and there was garbage everywhere. And it was just so surreal to walk through here, because I remember a few years back in February of 2023, when there wasn't nearly as much garbage and crap strewn about the floor, when there was still gumballs in the machine and candy inside of these display cases, and even raccoons running around in the ceiling. But nowadays, everything has been completely trashed. In September of 2000, Stage would close their store at Pines Mall, with the giant space never to reopen as a retailer again. Instead, it would be used over the years to house inventory for other stores, which, as you'll see later when we peek inside, has all been left to sit and rot. Literally thousands of boxes of stuff. It's ridiculous. Years later, Walmart, one of the mall's largest retailers, would pull the plug on Pines, closing their doors on January 20th, 2004. They would move to a new supercenter, which, conveniently for travelers, was located right along the new bypass. The Walmart building was left to rot, never to be reoccupied. Instead, a drywall went over the mall entrance, and murals of Shrek and SpongeBob came to decorate it in years following. Originally, the goal for GGP was to one day attract a fifth anchor to the Pines, which would hopefully open in the space right next to the theater. However, these plans never materialized, and instead the space would be turned into a disconnected Holiday Inn in 2005. Not long after, and the few remaining tenants left down in the old Walmart wing, like Master Cuts and the Army Recruiters, would close, and the entire wing would just be walled off, with management trying to hide how dire the straits were getting. The space would only ever be used in the future to house stock for the mall's dwindling store lineup, which is why you see the giant pallets of forgotten books and other things just left to sit out here in the main concourse. Also, fun fact, this is where I got my Neil Patrick Harris autobiography. Good book, would recommend. Nothing can survive in the wilds of the Pines. Not this Dollar Tree, whose roof is completely falling out and you can see broad daylight, and certainly not Barney here, whose gutted remains were left to rot outside of this old Master Cuts. Actually rather disturbing.
Master This wasn't as destroyed when we were here last time. So many storefronts are walled off and they're just like gutted on the inside, like completely gutted. Oh my gosh, that's huge. What was this? Goodness. There's so much stuff in there. So much stuff in there. Just sitting.
After most of these beautiful GGP malls were remodeled over the years, it was down to just a handful, which still contained their original late 80s aesthetics. Pines Mall and Mall of the Bluffs were among the very last. And if you remember, way back in Season 2, when I saw Mall of the Bluffs right before demolition, it looked identical to Pines Mall. And when I was watching that episode back, it was just so surreal. It was like I was watching an alternative Pines, which was still cleaned and maintained. Alas, sadly, Mall of the Bluffs itself is long gone, making Pines the very last of its kind. The last original GGP to feature the late 80s style with those amazing golden mirrored ceiling panels, mirror-filled skylights, and the massive windowed food court adorned in neons, tile, and Marquette bulb lighting. Oh yes, and of course all of those terracotta flower pots, benches, trash cans, and food court chairs, all original. The recession would sweep through Pines like a wave, and more name brands of which people knew, loved, and shopped the mall for were gone. Brands like Foot Locker, Claire's, Old Navy, Maurice's, and Zales, the ones you'd typically expect to find in most modern malls, were abandoning Pines altogether, either replaced by some short-term secondhand retail or left abandoned. In 2009, GGP would file for bankruptcy, selling Pines Mall to a Houston, Texas-based firm called Rockstep Capital in 2011, whose only addition in the following years would be the children's play area, which would replace the small stage and trees. Rockstep would, after a few years of decline, sell the Pines to a woman who would notoriously mismanage the mall into its final death spiral.
Must be like grand opening soon. There's people dressed up as Christmas trees and wreaths. Oh, there's Shrek. He's in tatters on the side. Oh, you can see the original Walmart facade. That's freaking cool.
In January of 2015, the mall would be purchased by the Texas-based art company, with ownership going into the hands of a woman named Judy Vu. whom had a history of fraud convictions in Wichita Falls, Texas. She became a pretty notorious figure in the community, becoming a neglectful mall owner, hiking rents, ignoring customers and tenants, and further driving out the few remaining mall stores. By January of 2016, Carmike Cinemas would fold, being absorbed by AMC later that year. They would close the mall theaters, and soon after, Judy Vu would take personal control, pirating or playing bootleg movies off her computer through the years, which in turn got her into even more legal trouble. In May of 2016, Sears would be the next major anchor to depart, leaving massive portions of the 500,000 square foot shopping center without any stores or anchors to cap them on the end. This led to another one of the mall's many struggles in its later life, having these long, void corridors which became darker and emptier with each passing year, which in turn made a lot of Pine Bluff residents really uncomfortable or unsafe in the mall. In 2016, a woman would slip and fall on one of the many present water leaks, with the judge demanding Judy Vu to pay $50,000 in medical bills. Judy would never pay these fees, instead further running Pines into the ground. In July of 2019, JCPenney, one of the last major anchor names, would close their doors for the final time. By then, the mall was clearly in its final stage of life, that being an agonizing slow death. Also, don't tell me it doesn't look like a body was just dragged away right there. Seriously, that is creepy as hell. We decided that we had had enough of this terrifying, nightmare-fueled fever dream, and that we'd just walk around the outside of the mall back to our vehicle. But let this wide open door to the abandoned Walmart, which had been sitting the same way the night prior, be a testament to the decline and the pure neglect Pines is facing. Though JCPenney had closed, the theaters would reopen for a short time under some new, legit management, becoming Saracen Cinema 8. Meanwhile, across the mall in October of 2019, Judy Vu would finally be arrested for failing to pay her fees. After a decision between paying up or selling the mall, Judy Vu would stay owner of the mall and begin her final shady year of the Pines operation, neglecting the few remaining stores out of operation entirely. COVID would come and go, and the Pines would just barely remain open for a few more months before officially closing its doors on June 15th, 2020, with store owners stating the mall's extremely deteriorated condition and lack of stores, while Judy Vu claims tenants never paid her.
The mall's owner, Judy Vu, gave tenants this letter last week blaming COVID-19 for the mall's closure, though she gave us a different story.
Earlier, you were blaming COVID for shutting down.
They don't pay me at all almost whole year.
No tenants have paid you for a year.
Yeah.
She's stating to us that it's about COVID, but it's just a result of years of bad management.
Dillard's, the final anchor, would remain open, but wall off their store, and the Pines Mall would officially be left abandoned, with little coming in the form of redevelopment or security.
There's the giant casino that they're building behind the mall. Right behind the abandoned mall.
At around midnight on Thursday, February 10th, 2022, a fire would break out in Judy Vu's former office. Now, it's not confirmed, but it's rumored by some that she herself snuck into the mall in the middle of the night to burn potentially illegal findings. But I guess nobody will ever really know. Dozens of fire departments would respond to the scene where the fire burned out the now sort of iconic giant hole in the roof. This giant hole quickly started to be taken advantage of by scrappers who would push large AC units and other rooftop findings down through it and out of the mall. Over the course of the next 5 years to when you're watching this now in 2025, Pines has just been left to sit abandoned, slowly falling apart and decaying more day by day. While visiting, I found it sort of ironic that this decaying abandoned mall and so much more in Pine Bluff is left abandoned, while across the road, the brand new Saracen Casino tops out its high-rise hotel. I don't know, I guess maybe the tax money on the casino could help tear down the mall and redevelop the area, but I guess it's just funny to see where the present-day money goes into. And I don't know how this Holiday Inn is still open and connected to the mall, but I can't see them sticking around much longer either.
It also blows my mind how there's this giant hotel right next, literally connected to the mall, in a way. I don't know, maybe they don't open these doors over here, but just right across from this abandoned mall.
What do you think the future holds for Pines Mall? Do you think it'll keep sitting abandoned in its current decrepit state, or do you think the land potentially has reuse? I personally believe that the mall will remain in its current ghostly state, further collecting dust and scars, because honestly that's most of Pine Bluff, but I guess only time can tell. As we go out here tonight, I'm gonna rewind the footage to just the night before, when my friends and I pulled up to this mall and collectively said hell nah, because a screaming lady outside the food court and a pack of wild dogs isn't necessarily what you first want to see when you pull up. But if you enjoyed tonight's video, hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes. And if you'd like to support me further, consider checking out the Patreon for sneak peeks at future episodes and even more bonus content. Next week we'll be live at a mall of your choosing, but 2 weeks from now we'll be back once again, this time to tell the next Bando story in our mall trilogy, that being a spooky, burned out 80s mall in the deep south, still lit up with marquee bulbs, but nowadays is completely gone. Guess which mall we'll be at, and I'll shout you out in the next episode. But until I see y'all then, have yourselves a lovely evening, and peace out guys. See you later.